It's 7 in the morning. The highest point of Sedona, higher than Thunder Mountain. It's quite a hike. And the interesting part is, like, we always feel drawn to what we call the contact places, or where the spheres get higher. I realized when people develop hypoxia in certain heights, as an altitude sickness. I don't think it's altitude sickness. Well, let's say it's 50-50. It's more, I believe, like the air gets thinner, your heart pumps more, but you get clearer. I observed that your senses pick up. You hear odd things. And you have, at a certain level, if you reach the mountain, you have thoughts, I don't know, lining up to attack you. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with your life? Or how you've been wrong, and what you did good and what you did bad. And I don't know, maybe I'm too sensitive. Like, I walked, and then I realized that I got sensitive to everything. Like, you could say that so much is the wrong thing to me, and I would be like, oh my God, this sits like a ton of bricks hitting you. And I got more into myself, more understanding of self, more, you could say, knowledge of self, embodying that what makes me. And I feel very much like every other hike is like you walking the path of your own subconscious levels into unknown fields, you know, walking into, how can I say, you're walking into something that's not comfortable, out of your comfort zone. Nothing is safe, you know, you have your water, you have something cooked with you, heavy equipment, you gotta walk at least 4 hours to get to a point which is like, this is a small hike, I imagine 7 hours. And how do you calculate the weight? I realize it's very spiritual, even though a lot of things we do are not very spiritual. So, how to expand the mind is, I suggest go into nature, dive, or go hiking. Spirit cannot really truly expand if you know, live in a house in the street, and you have your groceries next door. You don't need to do much. You don't want to do much because life seems fair. Life seems easy, and it's easy not to try. If you never say hello, you won't have to say goodbye. It's an old Hobbit song, which I find very funny. So, yeah, conclusion is, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot up here on that rock. It's, once again, I realize, you know, we are gifted every breath we take to be here on this earth, to share the good things with people on this planet and create the good. And then I realized the judgment day that people talk about, and the 2012 law, it's all in you. It has to be structured, aligned, and properly put in gear, that you understand yourself more than anything in the world, more than any external source is trying to tell you what you have to do. Brain acceleration can be done with formers, liquid form. See that you get somebody that really has something that kicks, but it needs time for your brain to get into repair mode. Check monoatomics, check superfoods, check chaga, check reishi mushroom tincture, check reishi mushroom spore oil. Get into the healing things. You know, I know we eat emotional, we eat for stress, and we eat for taste. Try to really find in your life what's essential. That is your furniture. Your feng shui is as within, so without. If your entire room is cluttered, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a workspace or a lab that is cluttered for you to create and you bring something forth. But watch it. Look around in your room. Is everything that you have what you need? Is that really what you need, or is that has to do with what you want and it's sitting there and it has no use? And maybe you can make somebody happy who really needs something that you have, that you can't get your money back for it, but you can share. I did that like 3 or 4 times in my life where I had to move, drastic changes in my life, and I gave my entire apartment away basically took 2 suitcases and moved on. You know, you know, my last move here, I did that. Gave my stereo system away. That girl was very happy. It was like a $600 stereo system. And I was like, I can't sell it. I have no time to sell it. It's a hassle. It's weight. I don't know where to put it. I'm not going to put it in storage. I keep it moving. And I gave it away. Yeah, what I have on my mind this morning is the things that we do in life is everything you do has an action or reaction. There's some out there that seek. There are some out there that find actual fact. There are doers out here and there are dreamers out here. That's fact. There are the light, love, and I'm clueless because I have no idea where I'm going, so I ignore negativity. There's no negativity. I'm just positive. That's not the solution, you know? You're the director of your life. Acknowledge negativity. We're in duality, hello, and we are working our way out of it. And it's not going to be overnight. There's not going to be a ship coming to pick you up and you talk to your friends and all is solved. You signed up to evolute consciousness, to prepare the lower vessel or aspect on earth to integrate with the higher identity. So you come once again back with your identity core and become one again. Meaning that your DNA is changing rapidly, that the magnetic shield is dropping rapidly. That doesn't mean when the magnetic shield is dropped that everybody on Earth is going to be fried. No. Russians have tested that. What happens is you don't really actually fry or life dies. Not really. It's more like the gene codes begin to rearrange themselves and to decode themselves and restructure themselves into higher life forms, higher stages of evolution. That is where we're going. And people that say, where's the magic and I have no ESP and this and that, everybody has ESP, extrasensory perception. It just lies dormant. There are things like, let's say you're expecting a package and the day the package arrives, you knew it came. Let's say, look at your escrow, your existence bubble. Everything works for you. You're a person, everything works for you. Some people might even hate you and say, hey, get out of here. Pretty much. Pardon me. There's a very, very big machine approaching me. And no problem with bugs, but it's in the recording and it's irritating. So, as I continue, it's that computers work for you, your car works, everything works for you. Things and deals and people and meetings, everything works for you. And then there's people, we want to acknowledge that too, where stuff doesn't really work for them. Passwords don't work. They think they remember their password, they punch in it doesn't seem to work. Something is glitching here. The way you operate with your banking system, it doesn't quite work. I say monitor your banking system. How do your numbers move? How do you move your money? How conscious and aware are you how you move everything in your life? And then you realize, oh, if there are a few things that don't work, put your focus of attention there and imagine yourself, seeing yourself in these things that they're working. Then you can change your life even more. But you have to know what you want to change. It's not like you can sit down and say, well, I'm positive, I'm activating my pineal gland. If you don't know, in your consciousness, the synaptic connection that your brain needs to synchronize two hemispheres and have the pineal gland open and begin to operate at your mercy, you need to know how it's done. And if that's, let's say it's an ancient Vedic technique that's 10,000 years old, what makes you think that you can pick up a Vedic book, read it, and sit down and activate it? If you actually are clueless of how the ancients did it, nor are in you the energy spectrum of those who did it. Too many people, sorry to say, sit there with a textbook and try to mimic. That is not the embodiment of wisdom. The embodiment of wisdom is something like, you have something like a brainstorm. We have that every day. A gamma burst. that happens when your brain reaches 176 hertz. And it goes zing, and you're like, ah, I have an idea. And then this idea fires you, and you try it, and guess what? It works. Because you channeled it in a way that it will make sense to you. And that is originate. And there are originators, and there are those who can learn from the originators. And that has to do with how open are you to the higher spheres of your conscious construct to perceive divine knowledge, to perceive right and just wisdom. I spoke to people that are beginning to write psychological program languages for the subconscious that will obliterate the average psychologist with stuff that works because it came to them. It has something to do with parallel lives, past lives that you've lived, and cell memory that you have access to. Like a kid, you know, being born in England, 5 years old, all of a sudden the dude speaks Russian for a day or two. Perfect Russian. It disappears. You know, then on another day he speaks Mandarin for a day or two. But he can't switch. It's like a glitch that shows you, even with the savants, you have the possibility to access higher brain states and higher brain functions and really be an avatar. And that's how the magic begins. Let's say, extreme cases, a guy gets hit by a truck. The car is under the truck, flattened out, and they're like, this dude is done. He's street pizza, finito. They lift the truck and peel the guy out of the car, not a scratch. And further investigation shows that where the body was, it's like a hollow, like a bubble where the body was not squashed. The entire thing was an egg around the body. So they're like, what created that energetic egg in this metal car, or the frame got crushed until it reached that egg, and the dude was completely safe? What happened here? Or a guy falls out of a plane 11,500 feet, hits a circus tent, only breaks a collarbone. So there are ideal things that can happen to us that we call miracles, and I call that actual fact. You got to step away from the shrouded mystery of the unattainable, so ever in the distance disappearing mystery that it can be attained and it can be reached. I believe truly in my heart, and things that I've seen and I've experienced, it can be reached. Which brings me now to the next level. People talk about UFO contact or strange things occurring. When people think that whatever we have here as in violent resources and weaponry can do anything to those time travelers and parallel dimension hoppers that come in here, only when in physical form and only in the past. I have witnessed myself where they can cut out an entire cell of a dimension, like these woods here, this place here, and loop it and play it back in your mind, and you think you would believe that you're still standing here, and maybe one or two had these experiences, and you're in a place and it looks familiar, but something is off, or something is odd, but your senses, you can't think outside of the box, you can't see it. So that's when you're already on a ship, and holographically reconstructed environment, the holodeck, you wouldn't know the difference, because everything is in replay to fool your senses. The only difference that you realize are the clouds can move at their will, how they want to move and arrange it. They can do it with the elements too, but in the hologram they can do anything. Trees can appear, reappear, roads can be there or not there. A friend of mine had an experience where she drove on the highway. All of a sudden the highway looked like it was 1960. Then she looked at the street lights, and then she realized they had no poles, and then the environment got weird. She lost track of time. Unusual events took place. Oh my God, like imagine you walk into a bar and you have two dudes on the side talking about quantum physics, and the bartender looks strange at you. You ask for directions. In the entire bar, 50 people look at you, nod, and point in that direction. What's going on? When you reach these places, these weird places far out, I don't know, Texas, Utah, Arizona, Mojave Desert, you go through There are things going on where I believe, and it's like time bandits, there are cracks in dimension where um, the powers that be, or whatever it was here, or is here, or is trying to hold on to what's dissolving anyway, where you literally walk in and out of the earthly dimensions. And I find that pretty interesting, where the shit doesn't make sense. You know, you throw a rock, all of a sudden the rock stops in midair and falls back to the ground, and you're like, well, physics has changed too. You can think, I think you can see that on YouTube too. There are places on Earth where the law of physics not really work. And that is where I believe we can allow ourselves to leave ourselves open to the fact, people, you are fantastic. There's so much more out there to explore. So much more that baffles the mind. And that's why we travel this earth. And if you're in a life that you don't like, and you have a boss that sucks, or your entire condition sucks, and you have the power to get up, you're healthy, and you have the freedom to make a choice for the better, it's part of the waking up process. It sounds mundane. It's make a good choice to enhance your living, enhance your experience, get into the adventure that they call life, because it's beginning. And it's beginning now. You know? And money can't buy that. And people talking about the monetary system is going to do this and that. The monetary system is going to exist for a while. It's going to be just more transparent. We want to move material. I say I'm the new economy. I'm the new cosmic economy. Let's look at land. Let's look at material. Let's look at setting up spaces so more what you call metaphysical facts can take place. Let's call it cities of light. I will keep repeating that theme, because that eventually will lead us somewhere. And at some point, when my setup is complete, I will record it. And then it's done. And for everybody else out there that's doing the do. Not everything is on Facebook, and not everything is on camera. We're talking about stuff here where we know with confidence it works. It baffles the mind. It blows you. Not to lure you in. This is not a cult or something that you have to follow me. I want you for yourself to find it and observe what's out there, so you can bring in the miracles. And then you will see the miracle makers, the rain makers, the people that are coming back, the modern day druids or shamans, to inspire the world that we have to restore this earth, and we have to do it as quick as we can. And this takes place now. Don't get stuck on a 2012 thing. That was an internal process to prepare your gene code to be ready to access the 12th dimensional aspect that makes you. But let's say this. 2012 was somebody saying, well, now you can buy the new MacBook Pro, and it has featured this, blah, blah, XYZ, and a multi-dimensional app. So a lot of people sit there and, I don't know, I love my PC, I hate Mac, or I love Mac, I don't know, what should I do? Well, and it's just a metaphor. I'm not suggesting buying either PC or Mac. It's just a metaphor, a picture. If you don't get into the experience of going there, let's see how this works, then you never know. You know, see how people did it. And go to places. Find holy places. Hawaii, Sedona, places in Utah, Stonehenge. There are many places where many things take place, and if you have the time, the money, and it doesn't have to be expensive. If in the US you don't have to travel far, to find spots with unusual activity. Sit there, camp there, Mount Shasta. Be there for a week, and I'm telling you, whether you believe it or not, and I want the non-believers, those that say there is no extraterrestrial life, UFOs are a phenomenon that doesn't exist, even though the government, in some form or fashion, knows exactly what's going on, and is laughing and says, we want you there. We want you to be a non-believer. We want you to use our products that die or fade away every year, so you can keep consuming more and more, stay asleep, and do that what we like, because you know what? You're actually paying our salary. We live in the mansions you dream of because you are a non-believer. Think reverse. And those that get out of it, they realize, well, why am I feeding this system that doesn't even believe in my existence? You know, it's time to wake up, and I say that every day it's time to wake up and realize where we are, who we are, how we are, and when we are. And train your brain. Get smarter. Don't go for the okie doke. Don't believe what's been told. Make the experience. I have this, and this. Feel it. Say, well, I touched this or I work with this, and you know what? It works for me because I can feel it. And if you can feel it, it's real. If something in your body changes, it's real. They had there was a case of a woman that I spoke to when I had my sacral bone adjusted, which is the bone that sits right here, called Atlas Prophylax. That system, if you want to YouTube or Google that. And I asked her, like, how did you become a healer? And she said, actually, I had cancer, terminal, and they gave me 2 years to live. Chest, back, they call it metastasia, I'm not sure. Metastasa is the Latin word for it. If it branches like a tree in your back, and it's like really crowding your system, and the doctor is sure that your immune system at some time will just shut down and you just wither away. Well, the lady was like, okay, I gave up, and not to dismantle the existence of the pharmaceutical industry. If you have something that can be healed, preferably not cut, consult a physician and a doctor. But if you have enough time and space, and my grandma died of cancer, it ate her up. So I've witnessed how that works. And I wish for people that are cancer patients that they not have to be in chemotherapy and when the entire immune system is basically shut down. I mean, that there are alternatives. And there are extreme cases of people that say, okay, well, I did all of this, it didn't work, the shit is in my body, let's find an alternative route. I leave myself open to that. So that lady said, she said that she called demons as in spiritual forms of archetypical programs that are destructive and they work against you. So she said, I went to Peru, met a shaman, took a plant medicine. He treated me for 4 weeks. He had 11 other shamans coming from the other villages singing. They literally, with the medicine and all the demons, sang the cancer out of my system. She came back, doctors x-rayed the woman and said, that is impossible. What are you eating? What are you doing? You change your diet and whatnot. The lady is cancer-free, alive and well and living. Her name is Marie. Lives in Berlin, and she said, I can show you my x-rays. And I just tapped into the resonance of what she was telling me, and I got goosebumps. I was like, you don't need to show me that. I really believe you. You like you're close to tears. It's just I'm healed. So there are things that we have forgotten. I also believe that if the school teaches you that the human race is 50,000 years old, and we build pyramids with sticks and stones, not really. Nobody can mimic the fact or do it or recreate something where this was done. I suggest watch Mary Rodwell, The New Human, where 5-year-olds talking about that we have the capacity to change the density of heavy objects to move them like toys. So that's how we build temples. So if a 5-year-old talks about density, we really have to overthink, like, where's this boy getting the information from? Why is it that you have I myself heard from a 4.5-year-old that his mommy got the wrong books, pointed at the dinosaur book and then at the pre-human book, and he said this and this has to be in one book because they live together. And then I go back in studies and I check that we have ancient depictions of us either riding giant reptiles or they walking next to us. They found footprints of the same time era in the Paluxy riverbed. You can Google that, where you have footprints and dinosaur footprints next to each other, same time era. Not like it was clay, it was loose, and the dinosaur left the footprints, and then billions of years, the same platform, no settlements added on, which is impossible, and then the human walks next to it 150 million years later, and then it's in the same bed. No, it's they check the rocks and all of that scientific hoopla, which is in the end not that important. It's important that you can feel the truth, that you can rearrange the construct of thinking and knowing, not believing. We left the age of belief. We're in the age of knowledge. So even online, you can see who's who somewhat. how people talk, what storylines have been left. Everything right now, like the Akashic, the internet is like a blueprint of that. We're going there. It's stored, will be memorized. Every action, every curse word, every lie, every action, every good deed, everything that you do, everything that you type when in rage, know this, it's stored, it's archived. It's, even when you erase your account remains stored. And, yeah, what can I say? That's what I felt what I wanted to share today with you. And, I want to enjoy the rest of my stay of this beautiful mountaintop. And I catch you on what they call the flip side, where sky and heaven meets, the horizon of possibilities. And that possibilities, you are a channel, you are a guru, you are a master, you're not a follower. You decide who plays on your stage. Nobody decides that for you. And that is all. Namaste.